Listen, Fall Brawl ends with one of the worst War Games matches in company history. It's Sting, Davey Boy, Dustin Rhodes, and the Shockmaster defeated, which, by the way, your comment last week just popped me all week long when I thought about it. When he stumbles out of the wall and I said, Arn, what would you do if that were you? You said, I'd jump back in that hole. That just made me laugh. But
I would. I absolutely would.
I would have jumped back in that hole, Paul. Oh, man. They defeat WCW champion Vader, Sid Vicious, and the Harlem Heat when the Shockmaster forced Booker T to submit to a bear hug, while Stevie Ray let it happen as he was seemingly waiting on Davey Boy Smith to prevent him from doing so. Just an ugly scene. Only 3 of the 8 men, Sting, Dustin, and Sid, had been in a War Games match in the past. Arn, you were in so many War Games. This is really your match, but this one just fell flat. It just wasn't received well at all. I mean, you're the expert on these things. What makes for a good War Games match?
Well, there is a formula that always works, but if you vary from that formula, I don't know what you got, because however many of those I was in, same formula. I would start, Dusty or whoever would start with me, and you had your coin flip. It was imperative that the heels won the coin flip, so you would always have a 2-on-1 situation. Then the babyface came in next and evened it up. Then another heel would come in, and it was like you always had the advantage if you were the bad guys. And you were available then for the next fresh babyface who's coming in to feed him a comeback. And if you didn't go to him, and as soon as he stepped through that door, if you were on the other side of the ring, hypothetically, 2 rings put together, if a guy had to go and cover all the way 2 rings to get to a guy to get beat up flat, there needed to be 1 guy or 2 guys, depending on how many were in the ring, to meet him as soon as he stepped in that cage and cut down on that dead time. That was imperative.
Think about this too. Something else that you already pointed out earlier in the show. This is during the time period where blood bans were in place.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, so there's that.
How do you have War Games and nobody's bleeding?
Right.
When my day, everyone I was in, we were all bleeding.
Here's another issue. You got Vader and Sid, they're top heels, but Harlem Heat at this point, they're not well established. And there's not a lot of personal issues between all these guys. You got Shockmaster tumbling out of the set in Clash of Champions. There's just not enough, and I feel like you got to have more if you really want a successful War Games. Horsemen, Dusty, Nikita, Road Warriors, yes, every time, but it just feels like they're throwing teams together, and you're not going to be as rabid as a fan to want to see all that.
You know what you're trying to say? There's no heat on the match.
Bingo. Yep.
And that was what it was. It was after months and years of screwing these guys around, War Games represented payday for your babyface team.
There you go.
And if that's what the theme of the night was, you had accomplished setting it up the right way. It was, you guys, all right, now, not 1 cage, but 2 cages. You guys cannot get out. There's a roof on it. Now you're going to get your ass kicked.